What, what other topics do we want to talk about?
Um,
Dating millionaires.
we can talk about how much my comp fucked up this week.
How much?
Big time. They had to change. They changed the date on me. They just changed it. They didn't give a fuck. Literally just changed it. I was like, you cannot do that. And I've got a contract and emails, and we've been speaking to you since January, and they're like, oh, sorry about it. So I've had to change. People have had to change flight. It's been a full shit show. Full shit show.
The finals?
Huh?
The
No, for
final?
Queensland. Queensland.
Oh.
Mm.
Oh my God. And you're already selling tickets and everything.
Yeah, tickets are sold, mate.
What the fuck? Why did they just change it?
I think was that so they had do you want to talk about it? Do you want to do this?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's start it. You do the
Okay.
start.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Pole Obsession with me, Felix Kane, and the beautiful Elizabeth Domazet. We've got lots of things to talk about today, don't we?
We always have lots of things to talk
Lots of
about.
things.
So we have so many thoughts on so
So many
many
things.
things.
So many feelings.
So many things. So we're going to talk about what can go wrong at comps.
Oh, and as like comp organizers, this is like it's just I don't know if we can truly like portray the like emotion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We try so hard to get every comp perfect. And, when we do a lot of them, we do a lot of them, there's just the amount of work is insane. But then when something goes wrong, you take it really personally and you feel like that you let so many people down. So it's actually much harder than you think because we try to make everything so great. So when something does go wrong and you affect a lot of people by it, you just feel terrible.
And also, like, I think when you do let people down, like, even if it's out of your control and it's not your fault, which a lot of the time it isn't, right? A lot of the time when things go wrong, it's out of your control. When you do let people down, it comes back on you as well. Like, people are attacking you and blaming you for the thing that happened, which is really like, you just have to take it. Like, what can you do?
Yeah, that's it. All right, so we're going to give you an example of what happened this week, guys.
Yeah. Real live example.
It's real life example. So this week, the Queensland Pole Championships, we have been speaking to the theatres. The theatre we used last year. We've used them for a few years now. Speaking to the theatre since January. Everything's been booked in. There's literally 50 emails between my team, myself, and the theatre. And 2 days ago, they told us that they double booked our date, like double booked our date, and we cannot have that date. Now, we've sold VIP tickets. We've got people, because the Queensland Pole Championships, there's two other states that feed into it as well. So we have, South Queensland, North Queensland, Northern Territory that feed into the Queensland Pole Championships. So we've got people booking flights from all around the country, and myself from Melbourne. I've got helpers coming from Sydney. Like, there is flights booked. People from North Queensland have coming and they've all booked their flights and accommodation. So to tell us that we can't have it on the day that we've been organising it with them for it's 7 months now, a couple of weeks out, because it's only 3 weeks away. I just lost my brains, and I did a full Karen. They don't care. They just don't care. There's literally nothing you can do. It does not matter if you've got a contract in place. It doesn't matter what you've got in place, because they don't care. They literally don't care. So I believe what happened is they just said, oh, we've double booked a date. But it was very much not booked until a few weeks ago, because I checked their website. Our date wasn't up because there's a new person on and we were dealing with her, and that's a whole different scenario. But anyway, it definitely wasn't booked. It was for us. But then there's this show that they've got running there for 3 weeks, and this show has sold out. I think that they've just given them our date as an extended date because they're doing so well and they're making the theatre that much money. This is hearsay.
Yeah.
This is not like I can't prove it, but that's the same show that's taken our date. So now I literally just have to deal with it. So I've had to we've got almost 40 competitors in, oh no, we probably would have 40 competitors. Yeah, 40 competitors in this particular competition, which is probably our biggest competition actually in the
Yeah.
country. So about
And
40 competitors, tickets are sold. Like,
unbelievable.
what do you do?
Did they offer you a different date? Is that what
Yeah,
they did?
the next day they've offered us. So the Sunday, which mind you, I have to pay all staff double time on a Sunday
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
more even, Sunday rates. The rigger, all the theatre staff,
Yeah.
everyone gets paid more on a Sunday. So great.
I would
And there's
be,
nothing I can do.
that's so annoying. And it's
It's so
so,
bad.
yeah, that's so, so bad. And also, like, they kind of have you, like, out under their thumb a little bit because, like, you have to accept it. Like, you can't, there's
Yeah.
no time to find a new venue. You
Well,
can't
I
find,
did try. I tried. I rang about 10 different venues to try to
yeah,
find a new venue, but 3 weeks out, it's impossible. It's
yeah.
like just impossible to do, but I tried.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I would have done exactly the same thing. Like your first port of call is just to call every single available venue and just try and get some, or like get lucky. But on a Saturday like night to book a venue last minute is so impossible. I had this exact same scenario. It wasn't actually the venue, it was the trust. The riggers had
Oh,
double booked themselves. And so I didn't have a trust to put the polls up. And they let me know like a week before. I was like, we've had this booked in for months. What do you mean I'm not going to have polls at my event? Like, what do you mean? So
yeah.
like you just had I had just had to pay through my nose to like get it up. And it's already difficult to make money on events, right? So when you're having to like change last minute, add costs on, pay Sunday rates, overtime rates, it becomes so much more stressful. And then, like you say, you've got all of the like backlash of the people that have prepped for this day not being able to come on that day.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my first scenario of dealing with a theatre this week. The second one is, so I've had two this week. All I've been doing is like literally putting out fires. You can just call me
Oh,
Fireman L from here on in. So the second one is the Victorian Pole Championships Theatre, which we budget that. I'll tell you the price is around $8,000. It's a very expensive theatre. It's like
yeah.
$8,500. Very, very expensive theatre. It is a beautiful theatre, but it, you don't make 2 cents on it. If you break even, you're high-fiving yourself, in that one. Anyway, so they just sent me a new bill saying, oh, prices have gone up to $12,000. What? This is not with rigging, guys. So rigging can be an extra 5,000 on top. How do you pay that? Like, how do you pay that? So now I'm
And
trying to.
how do you jump from 8 to 12?
How do you?
Like, how
How
do
do
you
you?
justify that? Because most incremental costs go up by like what, 2%, 2.5%, like that you can kind of justify, but not if you've already given a quote and you've accepted the quote.
Well, that's right. That's exactly what's happened. And they're like, oh, our prices have gone up. And I'm like, you can't do that. I've got it in writing. Like, you
Yeah.
can't do that.
Just change your mind. Imagine if we did that in pole classes. Like, actually, guys, it was this much, but now it's 40% more.
Yeah. So everyone's paying $100 a class. Thanks for
$100 a class,
coming.
guys. Thanks for
Like,
coming.
yeah. But the thing is with theatres, they can do it because everyone wants to use the theatres. Theatres
Yeah.
book out, like we have to book our theatres a year in advance most of the
Yeah.
time. So they book out and they can actually do whatever they want because they've got so many people who want the dates.
Yeah. And
So,
also like we're competing a lot of the times with like a lot like bigger acts and like, like things that sell their ticket prices at higher price points. Like if it's like us versus a famous band, of course they're going to prioritize the person that's going to bring in more money for the theater.
or a long running show, they'll give it to a long running show way
Yeah.
before they'll give it to us. Because if somebody's going in there for 3 or 4 weeks, they're making a lot of more money out of them than what they're making off us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's really hard it's far, and it's hard here in Perth to find a good venue that has enough seating. Like we've got a great venue that we use, Planet Royale Theatre, but it only seats 230 odd people, which for a pole event is actually on the lower side. Like you need usually a bigger venue, especially for like the big events that we do, the WA heats of Miss Pole and WA PC, like it would be so much better to have a bigger venue, but there just isn't anything available.
Yeah. So it is hard. It's so
Yeah.
hard.
And it's a real thankless job as well. Like,
Yeah.
you do, like I think, and it's not to say that people are not grateful for it. It's just to say that there is so much work that goes into it that is unseen, and it's endless. The amount of hours is endless, and then
Endless.
you really don't make money doing the events either,
No,
or not unless you're putting the cost on the competitor, which you don't do and I don't do. Yeah, you don't make money um, running live events anymore. It just isn't a thing.
no. So I will say though, for the Queenslanders, we sent out the email today to say to them, listen, guys, we're going to need to change the date. Then I sent it out to all the ticket holders that bought the VIP ticket saying, look, I'm really sorry, I'm going to have to change the date. Now, a lot of these people have had to change flights and accommodation or could not change their flight. And I said to my team, brace yourselves because we're going to absolutely cop it. And some people had bought, 30 tickets. Some people had bought 15 tickets, like bringing their whole studio with them. And
Yeah,
like studios from Sunshine Coast and Noosa and stuff like that. So they're not close. And
yeah,
I personally sent them a voice message, the ones that had bought the big
yeah.
amount of tickets. Um, and they were lovely. I thought I was going to love it.
Oh,
And everyone was so kind and everyone was so nice. And people changed dates. Like Nicole Harbour is my
yeah.
MC, and she was running her birthday showcase on the Sunday night, and she's changed it. And she'd sold tickets to that, and she's changed it so she can come and MC for me. Like,
Oh, oh,
yeah, they're just like Nina, who bought like 30 tickets for her studio, and Lisa from INX, who bought like, I don't know, about 15 tickets, something like that. They're all like, it's all right, Elle, we'll make it work. It's okay. You don't have to refund us, even if we have to take the cost. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are so amazing.
but
The Queensland
that's so
people are
lovely.
awesome.
That's
Yeah.
so lovely. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so lovely to hear. Because yeah, I feel like it could go both ways, couldn't it? That
Yeah.
either people are going to be super understanding, or they're going to be like understandably upset because like
Of course.
it's fucked. Like you're
Yeah.
upset,
It's
I'm
terrible.
upset. It doesn't really affect me, but I'm upset.
Yeah.
But
We've
yeah,
only had we've only had one competitor who can't. She's coming, I believe from Mackay, and she's like, I booked my flights, I booked my accommodation, so is my partner, and there's no way we can change it. We've tried to change it. And then I've just said to her, what we'll try to do is just go into one of the studios in Queensland, and and the judges and I will come and we'll watch you and we'll score you there. So
yeah,
I'm trying to do whatever I can to
yeah,
support everyone,
yeah,
but it's
yeah,
definitely a juggling act
yeah. I mean, that's really amazing that you're doing that, and also a miracle that it's only one competitor.
so far.
So
We only just sent out the email today,
okay,
so far we've got one.
there
But
might be there might be like a heat in a studio.
yeah, there might be a little mini heat in a
Yeah,
studio. Or look, we'll do whatever we can because I understand it's an absolute disaster.
yeah,
But
and
I just,
it is like unprecedented. Like that hasn't. How long have you been doing the comp, and that's never happened?
yeah, that's never happened before.
Yeah.
I mean, my polls didn't turn up for nationals a couple of years ago. Remember that?
I do remember. I remember my brother-in-law on the plane from Melbourne with like a piece of pole in hand.
Yeah, I know. What a legend. What a legend. So
Yeah.
that story is when we ran nationals at Tasmania, the trying to get something to Tassie is an absolute disaster. The transport logistics to get anything to Tasmania will take you 5 times longer than what it'll take to get to anywhere else in Australia. We sent it like 2 or 3 weeks prior, the polls and the toolbox and everything to go, and it just didn't come. And I rang and rang and rang, and I harassed every logistics company that was in the country to find out where our polls were. And on the day, and then I said to Felix, oh my God, there's no polls. We've got no polls for this competition. What are we going to do? And obviously, there's nothing in Tasmania. Like, I don't run comps there. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So there's nothing there. So, Felix, you want to tell what you did?
I called Leanne from the Pussycat Bowl and I was like, Leanne, we've got a problem. Do you know anybody who might have poles that we can take from Melbourne to to Tasmania because it was the shortest flight and my brother-in-law was in Melbourne. And I think at this point the poles had turned up, but the attachments for the floor and the ceiling hadn't turned up. So
Yes.
we had the poles, but we had no way of securing them to the truss or the floor. And Leanne from Pussycat Poles was like, I don't know, you might try this guy. He had some a production company. I can't remember Murray was his name. So I called this guy Murray from I wish I could remember his production company name. And I said, this is a really odd question, but do you happen to have the top and the bottom of two pussycat poles for that go onto a truss that I could rent off you immediately to save the day? And he said, yeah, I think I do. I'll have to dig them out of my warehouse. But and there was some logistical something that we had to figure out because he was working that day. So we had to put him in his truck. And then my brother-in-law went to go shout out to Dano. Dano went to meet him. He was setting up this huge thing for some event outside, got the four pieces of attachments that we needed. And then he went to the airport and then he flew to Tasmania. And then I picked him up and we raced to the venue and we ran in. We were like, we got there.
And then in the meantime, we found out, after I had rasped everyone, we found out where they were. And they were in one of the logistics company's warehouses. And I said, we're desperate. We're running a national competition. We need them. And she's like, oh, we can't do it. Too bad. We're too busy today. There's no way we're going to send it. And I said, or shipped them 3 weeks ago. You've got to bring them. How long have you had them for? Like they were sitting there for, I think, 3 or 4 days. She goes, no, we're too busy. And I said, listen, I'm going to send somebody to get you. And obviously I didn't have a car. I'm not from Tasmania. So I can't even remember how we got there. Or we hired a car or we Ubered or something. But my partner at the time, I made him drive there and it was like 40 minutes away or something from the venue and drive back with him. So we ended up with 4.
We ended up with way more than we needed. But it was better to have too many than it was to have too little. So,
but we only ended up with them at lunchtime on the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was literally on the day of the
comp. Yeah.
So how do you run a national competition with no poles?
We were like, do we get stage poles?
Well, we had stage poles because we were running Expo there. So I had the stage poles. Yeah. But can you imagine me running a national competition with stage poles? Mind you, that year, Naomi Capelli and Bethany Finlay were both competing. Imagine those two on stage pole. Though I did ring them and I said, listen, guys, there is a chance. I'm preparing you. There's a very small chance that you might have to do it on stage poles. And both of them were legends and they were both changing their routines in their heads because I know that those two that particular year were the most dynamic and that's the hardest thing on a stage pole to see them change their routines. But I was holding off because I just felt like we were going to be okay.
Yeah. And we were.
We're okay. Thank God. Thank God. The stress of it, though.
It was so stressful.
Next level. It's next level.
Yeah, because you were like, you're in Tasmania, don't even have like in Perth, I've got 2 poles, I've got everything. You know what I mean? Like, when you're not in your like hometown and you don't even have a car.
No car, no nothing.
Because they're not like the truss attachments and the floor pieces, they're not just like standard. You can't go to Bunnings and get them.
No, you cannot.
Yeah. Even poles, like it's not something standard. Like there's very specialized equipment. So they're not available in like anywhere. You have to already have them, right?
Yeah. And you can't just pull out 2 poles from a studio. Like there's special poles for a stage.
And they might not be the right height. And that's the other thing is that even when you sent them early because you didn't want that thing to happen. And then even though you sent them early trying to avoid this exact thing, that exact thing happened.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy. So look, we try. And the other thing that's really happened to me, nationals, one day before nationals, I hadn't got the trophies. We've had trophy issues. I haven't received the trophies. And it was the same thing. I rang the logistics company and I'm like, I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's in Sydney. Just tell me where they are and I'll drive to get them. And I would have
Yes.
driven to Sydney from Canberra and back. And I'd end up being in a warehouse like maybe 30 minutes from my home. So I luckily they allowed me to do it because they're like, no, sorry. And I'm like, I need to speak to the company that's got them. And they're like, oh no, we can't tell you. And I'm like, this is for a national competition. I just full Karen. It's like, all right, let me check. And then she checked. But the urgency that you have to tell them, like how urgent
Yeah.
it is for them to do anything, is really crazy. So
It's
logistics
crazy.
companies is the worst, I think.
Yeah. Shipping, I can't just the stress. I can't even. Um, yeah. I think yeah, probably the trust canceling on me last minute was one of the worst. I did have a venue change at one point, but I think what was it? I think I just, yeah, they pulled out and I had to find another venue, but I managed to find another venue by some miracle. Like I just moved the whole event to a different venue, but it was on the same night.
Oh, yeah, that happened in Queensland last year, remember? Do you
Yeah,
remember?
I don't
But
remember that.
I still had about 6 weeks out. Yeah, the venue just cancelled on me. They literally, and this does happen to this day. This happens. A venue will decide that pole dancing is not okay in their venue, and they will just cancel on you. It happened in Tasmania. It happened in Queensland last year. It's happened in Melbourne about 3 times to me. Like they just think pole dancing is just who knows what they think. I think they think
Yeah.
we're taking all our clothes off. They don't know who I am. What do you mean taking clothes off?
What?
What? What's that mean? Yeah, it's so funny because when it first happened, I was just like, what are they talking about? Don't they know that this is fitness? I don't understand why they're all up in arms about this. But yeah, to this day, people will not. I tried to get the Opera House for a really, really long time because I thought, what a cool venue for nationals, right?
Yeah.
And they're so snooty in there and they won't let us go in there, but they let burlesque go in there.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Because pole just gets a bad rap.
Yeah, it does. It does. Is Jacob here? Should we wrap it up?
Yeah. All right. Um, well, that's been our little rant for the day. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back with more.
We always have more for you guys. We always have more.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll stop that recording.
Yeah. What? The